Did you know you can still have a pumpkin spice latte even when doing keto? Hey everyone, welcome back to Pop Keto, where we aim to help you live a sustainable keto and low carb lifestyle. Today we are not going to eat this little pumpkin, but we are making a pumpkin spice latte, or two. Good thing about this recipe is that at the start of it, we're putting together the pumpkin spice mix, and you can store some of that aside so it's ready to go when you want it. Now let's have a quick talk about the macros of this dish. Now we're doing what we can to reduce carbs, and there's two places we're going to find carbs here. One could be in the pumpkin spice mix, and then one could be in whatever liquid that we're going to cook it in, and we'll show you that in a moment. Now I have seen people be surprised that we would actually count the carbs of something like spices when we're putting together a dish. But really you want to take into account everything that you're eating. Once we put our little blend together here, it works out that a teaspoon is about 1.5 carbs. Normally a pumpkin spice latte would be in normal milk, but we've discussed this before, milk can be quite high in sugars. So how we're replacing that is we're using a lot of almond milk, but we're also going to put in some cream to keep it creamy. So let's get into it, and we'll put our pumpkin spice blend together first. Now I'm going to put it into a jar that we've recycled, and it'll also help with storing it. Now the spice mix that we're going to put together will give you about 12 serves, but we're going to make a 2-cup serving today. All right, first of all, we are going with 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. Next is a tablespoon of ground nutmeg. Now the cinnamon and the nutmeg are probably the two main sort of spices that you have when you're thinking pumpkin spice. I personally have a preference towards cinnamon, which is why this recipe leans the way it does. So we've got the 2 cinnamon, and this is the 1 nutmeg. Next we're putting in 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. Next ingredient is clove, and we're putting in 1/2 teaspoon. Now clove is actually a very strong flavor in this little mix, so you don't need a lot to go a long way. And the last ingredient is allspice, and that's 1/2 teaspoon as well. Lid on, give it a shake, and that's done. Easy. First bit, done. All right, so with the spice out of the way, we move towards making our latte. We're starting with 1/4 cup of double cream. Now when I started putting this recipe together, we actually had a lot more cream in here, but when you think about it, cream is almost 50% fat, so if you end up having a lot of cream in there, that's a lot of your daily fats in the one dish. Now the reason I've put the cream in here and not directly into the pot is because of the next ingredient, which is almond milk. Now almond milk is a much lower carb alternative to standard cow's milk, so that's why we're using that today. So just a quick read of the nutritional information off of this. Even if you were to have 200 mils of this, it would still be less than 1/2 gram of carbs in it. So today we are going to use 1 3/4 cup of this, or just to fill this up to the 2-cup mark. Cool, so we're going to pop this into our little saucepan here. Making sure we get all the creamy goodness out. This is where we bring back our pumpkin spice mix from earlier, and we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of this. Now we've already got this in a container to store from later, so if we want another one later on, easy to do. Vanilla essence is the next ingredient, and we're just putting 1/2 teaspoon of that. With that all in our pot, we're now going to slowly bring this up to a nice warm temperature, which can take a little while. Now you can do this in the microwave. Using the jug we had before, you can put it in the microwave at about 30-second bursts, and don't forget to stir it after each 30 seconds. But what we found is that putting it into a pot actually gives the spices a better chance of putting their flavors into the milk. I've been giving this a bit of a whisk as we're warming it up, just to make sure that those spices dissolve into the milk. And it's already smelling amazing. A little bit of steam coming off there. I'm just going to put it in our last ingredient, which is some xanthan gum, and I'm putting in 1/8 teaspoon. It doesn't sound like a lot, but xanthan, you only need a little for it to do what it does. This is going to give it a bit of a smoother texture, a little bit of creaminess, and it probably won't make a big difference if you decided to leave it out. I just really like the texture that it gives it. Xanthan's actually pretty easy to get nowadays as well. It's usually in the free-from section of the supermarket. Cool, now that is not quite boiling, but it is nice and warm, so that's about where I want it actually. So I'm just going to turn the heat off. Oh, you know what, I forgot the sweetener. Now usually you'll have these from one of these coffee places, and they are so sweet and they're so full of sugar. So this is a really great way that you can still have it but not take that sugar hit. As a sweetener, we are using one of our favorite sweeteners, which is erythritol. I'm putting in 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to stir that through, put it on the heat just for a little bit longer, just to make sure that erythritol is dissolved. Beautiful, there we have it, and we are about ready to serve that up. Now, as I've said, this is a serving for 2. But it's so easy to double the recipe if you've got some friends around and make a serving for 4. And if you're feeling fancy, you could whip up a bit of cream to put on the top, sprinkle a bit of cinnamon. Easy. Let's have a taste. Ooh, yum. Oh, it's nice to just hold in your hand as well while it's nice and warm. I love it. So it's got a nice spiciness. Even once you've stopped sipping on it, you actually get a little bit of spiciness still in your mouth from all the spices that are in it. It's really comforting. Really nice and warm, you know, physically warm, spicy, not hot, but just that warmth from the spices. Love this, and at this time of the year, it is so good. So there you go, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please feel free to share it on Facebook and Twitter. Even if it is just to show your friends that doing keto, you can still enjoy a seasonal drink like this. And of course, if you do it, please take a photo, we'd love to see it. And tag us on Instagram @popketo_. We'd love to share your photos. Do try it, and if you do like it, come back and click like on the video. You can also click subscribe or click here to see another one of our videos. Hope you've enjoyed that. Stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you next week.